Hi everybody, Adam Stern, Strat SFR here. Thought I'd give a kind of a bi-monthly update about activity in the build for rent space. You know, as most people know by now, I'm hip deep in the trenches of the build for rent business, and I kind of wanted to share my experience in my travels and also kind of my thoughts on business, which I kind of shared last time, a little bit of personal information, and I got a really great response. So I figured why not just dive headlong into sharing what I think I should share. I kind of made the business decision a little while back that I was going to solely focus on build for rent projects. They're hard to put together, they're longer sales cycles, but this last week was a phenomenal week for Strat SFR. I just plowed into the deals I was working on and ended up getting an accepted offer on a small townhome subdivision in East Charlotte, bringing together a local builder and a institutional investor, which has been great. So we're going on a contract with that in the next week, and that is one in a succession of deals that, listen, my experience over the last several months is that these deals have been tough to bring together between the right builder and the right capital source, but when you get two people with the right project and the right outlook, it's a real special thing. So besides for that deal, which came together because the capital source liked the area, they liked the demographics, they liked the product mix, the builder had the right outlook with, could he have made a little bit more money by selling retail? Yes, but did he want to take his chips off the table a little bit earlier for a more assured exit? Yes. And that differential between the sales price and what he could have gotten if he spent the next 12 to 18 months selling those out retail, that differential was palatable to the builder, and they came to a deal that made sense. And both sides realized that it's just one deal, and that the real important thing, and I've heard this repeated over and over again, is the relationship is really the important thing. Because if this builder can find a friend and an ally in this capital source who wants to grow their portfolio, then it's not only a win for this deal, it sets up both parties for a good, solid relationship moving forward. Had a great time in terms of finding new deals. I kind of made the decision that if I'm going to really solely focus on build for rent, then every waking second of my life is going to be devoted to either working on deals that I have in process or calling up regional builders and local builders that might have projects that would fit the build for rent model. So that's what I did over the last couple of weeks. I just hit the phones hard, calling every relationship that I had, every builder that would listen to me, and I gave them a really simple value proposition. Show me your entire pipeline of projects that are anywhere between the entitlement phase and the horizontal building phase, and I'll do some analysis to tell you if they work for build for rent. And that's kind of a free value add that I offer. I've been able to get 8 different projects on my desk from 8 different builders. I would say the majority of what I look at doesn't make sense as build for rent because it makes more sense as a retail product. But I've keyed into three different projects that work perfectly as build for rent, and I think the numbers might work for the builder. So what you're going to be seeing from me in the next week are 3 new projects. One is in Central Florida, a place called Lakeland, which is a great middle submarket in between Orlando and Tampa, right smack dab in the middle of the state. A lot of great shifting is going on in Florida that are converging on Lakeland right now. So that's going to be an interesting one. And I've got 2 projects in northern Atlanta. So you'll be seeing that for me, and it's such a great business, this build for rent space, and I'll kind of give you my 2 cents on why. I was asked, I got my COVID-19 antibody test today, and the nurse was asking me about my business. And I explained how I was kind of in the residential space selling SFR portfolios for the last 5 years. And I love that business, and I did really well at it. But what I really like about the build for rent space is how multifaceted it is. Someone owns an SFR portfolio that's stabilized. They have an asset that is in an area and it has certain attributes, and that asset or those assets have an operating history. So it's not all that complicated. There's a price that works and a price that doesn't work. And generally it just takes marketing that portfolio to find a buyer that will buy it at the right cap rate. with build for rent, there's so many different ways to go about this business, from the developer who owns the land to the builder who builds the properties, and all the different variations, how those two puzzle pieces can come together with an ultimate capital source that will end up owning the product, the properties at the end of that process. I've generally been calling builders to find out what they have in the land pipeline, and then hooking those builders up and their projects up with a capital source. This week I keyed into a developer here in Charlotte that had approved land he was trying to sell, 300 plus lots, had a builder that didn't want to buy all of them, but wanted to buy part of them. So he came to me and said, hey, Adam, the builder wants to buy half these lots. Can you find a build for rent player that wants to buy the other half? And me being able to work with a land developer and then engage with the builder who wanted half the lots about working with my investor who might want to buy the other half of the lots, and have that builder build homes for him, and then having them work together to build an entire subdivision that has amenities that both the for sale and for rent side will share. Think about that. 3 different puzzle pieces and a myriad of ways that can work together to create a subdivision that's half rentals and half for sale. And here's me in the middle feeling like a producer, trying to get the lot prices at the right price and the home prices at the right building prices in order to create a cap rate that's not only attractive but achievable to the buyer. So I'm really having a lot of fun, in case you can't tell. Rocky road, as most businesses go through in a new space, but the more people I talk to and the more opportunities I uncover, the more I realize that this space is a phenomenal way for a guy like me, who's a puzzle piece player, kind of a middle puzzle piece player that brings together capital sources and developers with land and builders with building prowess together. So that's my 2 cents in the build for rent space. And I'll kind of lead with this. What I've realized is I have a lot of conversations with people that generally, some of them don't go anywhere. But I've been able to stay patient with a lot of people, even if I don't think it's going anywhere, to add whatever value I can to their world and hope that they'll add some value to my world. I've kind of had this thought that if you can have a net positive effect on someone's world, whether or not you do a deal with them, if you can positively influence the way they look at this space, business, even in their personal lives, throughout the course of business, you rub off against other people and they do the same to you. And the key, I think, to staying happy in any business, especially the real estate business, the brokerage business, the building business, is staying patient with people, making sure that you get as much from them as you can in terms of the way they understand the world, and doing the same for them. And at the end of the day, you might not strike a deal, but you'll be a happier person for it. So with that thought, I'll kind of sign off. Check out the few new listings that I'm going to be putting out next week on behalf of Strata SFR, and we'll be seeing you. Thanks a lot for listening.